right, everybody, welcome back. Ready to dive into something big today.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
We're tackling elephants, and not just the animal facts, but their whole cultural weight.
Exactly. This isn't just about how much they weigh or how long they live, though our sources had some staggering numbers on that. We're talking about why elephants matter to human history, belief systems, the whole shebang.
And it's fascinating how much deeper it goes than you'd think. Elephants as symbols of power, wisdom, even obstacles. It gets pretty profound.
Okay, so before we get to the symbolism part, got to set the stage right. Like, just how big are we talking? One source said African bush elephants, those are the big ones, can be up to 14,000 pounds.
14,000. Yeah. Picture 6 cars, the whole shebang. That's basically an elephant standing there.
Wild. Makes you wonder how they even get around.
Right. And that's just one type of elephant, too.
Yeah.
We've got forest elephants in Africa, a bit smaller than Asian elephants, also not quite as massive, but still huge EE animals. And lifespan. Those guys can hit 70 years old.
70? Seriously? That's longer than a lot of people get.
I know, right? It's amazing. It also makes it even sadder when you think about poaching, habitat loss, all the things cutting their lives short.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like they've got this potential for a long life, this whole rich existence, and we mess it up.
It's a huge part of why their cultural significance is so important, I think. People have always recognized there's something special about elephants, something beyond just being an animal.
Speaking of which, let's get into that. One thing that really struck me was how revered elephants are in Asia.
Oh, absolutely. Hinduism, for example, you've got Ganesha, elephant head, human body, always a favorite deity. But he's not just about wisdom, it's deeper than that. He's the remover of obstacles.
No wonder he's so popular. Sign me up for some obstacle removal, please.
Right. It's something everyone deals with, so it makes sense, that desire for someone to clear the path, you know. Then Buddhism has the white elephant, which is all about peace, royalty, purity, even tied to Buddha's birth, actually.
Hold on, what's the story there with Buddha's birth? I'm not familiar with that one.
So the legend goes, Buddha's mother had this dream before he was born, right? A white elephant appears, carrying a lotus flower, which is itself a huge symbol in Buddhism for enlightenment.
Ah, okay, so it's like this whole auspicious sign, the white elephant showing up.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting because white elephants, in some cultures, were all revered. They were basically royal treasures, not supposed to be used for work or anything, just a symbol of good fortune. Even today, we say white elephant to mean something rare and valuable.
Huh. I never knew that's where that saying came from. Learn something new every day.
Right. But it goes to show, elephants are more than just animals to people. They're almost like, I don't know, mythical figures in a way.
And that ties into them being working animals too, right? Which seems kind of contradictory, but...
It's true. Like, you've got this reverence for them, but they're also incredibly strong. Historically, logging was huge. Moving those massive tree trunks, elephants were the way to do it. Horses couldn't handle that kind of weight.
Yeah, you need a lot of muscle to haul those things around.
Exactly. Same with ancient construction. Imagine trying to build a temple or something, moving giant stones. Elephants were key. But it's not just do the brawn, it's also, well, think about training a horse. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, comparatively, I guess.
Yeah.
Never tried it myself.
Point is, you can't just slap a saddle on an elephant and call it a day. They're smart. They need to understand what you're asking and be patient enough to work with you.
So their temperament, their ability to actually learn complex tasks, that factors into their cultural significance too.
100%. It's that combination of strength, intelligence, and even a certain calmness. You know, they don't just react. They seem to consider things. All that feeds into why we find them so impressive.
So last question before we wrap up. Why do you think, personally, elephants matter so much? Why do they resonate across so many cultures?
That's a good question. I think part of it is that lifespan. Elephants have seen a Lao-E, you know. They survive droughts, they outlive predators, they even bounce back from some of the damage humans inflict. They're symbols of resilience, which is something we all admire.
Makes sense. Everyone wants to be tough like that, right? Weather the storm and all that.
Right. But then there's the social side, too. Elephants mourn their dead, they care for their young, they cooperate within the herd in ways that really make you think about animal intelligence in a different light. It challenges us, I think, to consider what we mean by wisdom or connection in the first place.
That's powerful stuff. Definitely gives you a lot to think about, even beyond just the facts about elephants themselves. It's like, what would we lose if they weren't around anymore? And not just in the environmental sense, but like culturally. What stories, what symbols, what understanding of the world would disappear right along with them?
Exactly. And that's something worth pondering, I'd say.
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, next time you see an elephant, whether it's a picture, a video, maybe even lucky enough to see one in person, remember, there's a whole lot more to them than meets the eye.
There really is. It's a story that's thousands of years old, and it's still being written today.